Acton in Focus. I'm Vivian Kopsinger-Birchall, your host, and my special guest is Saad Dinno, the CEO, I think that's the title, of Acton Pharmacy. Welcome, Saad.
Thank you, Vivian, for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor and privilege to be with you.
It's such an honor to host you, given how the services that you provide for our town.
Thank
and
you so much.
Is your title CEO or president?
Well, you know, my official title is I'm a pharmacist, right? That's my first occupation at Acton Pharmacy.
Right.
But I'm also the president of our corporation. It's a partnership between me and my brother. We own 5 locations in the Metro West area of Boston, and we've been in Acton since August 1st of 1997 as owners of Acton Pharmacy.
Can you give us a bit of a background of how you got into pharmacy?
Absolutely, sure, I'd love to. So I come from a family of pharmacists. Obviously our patriarch is our dad. He's a pharmacist, 82 years old, still goes to work every day in our Newton location. I'm a pharmacist. My brother's a pharmacist. My wife is a pharmacist. Now we have my son, who's a third-generation pharmacist. My brother's oldest daughter is a third year at Northeastern University studying pharmacy, and I have 7 first cousins that are pharmacists.
So many pharmacists.
So many pharmacists.
in
so
the
many
family.
pharmacists.
Oh
right.
my goodness.
So we got into pharmacy through my dad. My dad has been a pharmacist for a long time, and it's something. His passion for the pharmacy and the patients and the customers that he served over years kind of set up a path for my brother and I to kind of follow his footsteps and become pharmacists. And I've been a pharmacist since 1993, and my brother's been a pharmacist since 1995, 96. So.
Given the long history of being a pharmacist, not only for you but also for your family, what are some of the trends that you have observed through the years when it comes to pharmacy work? I mean,
obviously, from a medicinal perspective, medicine has come a long way, right? I mean, we used to have the penicillins and a few items that we used to have in the 70s and 80s, and as time has progressed, medicine has become an incredible aspect of treating many diseases and many disease states that were not able to be treated in the past through medicine. Now we are able to prolong people's lives and treat those conditions that in the past history we're not able to. Technology has come a long way in pharmacy. Whether it's checking interactions with other medications at a profile, or having everything computerized, where we used to write everything down on a piece of paper and have a profile on a paper, not a computerized. That's one aspect that has obviously progressed pharmacy. And educational wise, now it's a 6-year program. It's no longer a 5-year program. Students graduate with a doctorate of pharmacy, so we call them PharmDs. As more clinical integrations that are necessary now to fulfill your education in pharmacy programs.
Wow, so it sounds complex. So we're going to get into that a little bit. But before we get there, what really goes on behind the scenes at a pharmacy? Okay. After you get, you get in a prescription. Actually, I don't even want to preempt you. Can you explain that process between when you get the request and? Sure.
So, a patient or a customer will visit, I'll put myself, I visit a doctor and a physician or a practitioner of some sort. I leave that office and the doctor says, because you have a cold or you have a strep throat, I'm going to send an antibiotic to your pharmacy. Well, in the past, they used to hand you a piece of paper and you have to take it to the pharmacy, and then the pharmacy will, do whatever they need to do with it to fill your scripts. Now everything comes electronically for the most part. 99% of what we do now is electronic. It's just, it's a system called SureScripts that kind of handles all the scripts that come across the country, billions of scripts, and then they get routed to the pharmacies of choice of the patient. We get the script, and then we start, obviously adding the patient name, the drug, the doctor, the instructions on one screen, and then once that screen kind of gets fulfilled, then if there's other medication in the patient's profile, we're going to be checking for doing our what we call a DUR perspectives, which means we just look at and make sure there's no interactions, there's no contraindications, there's no allergies to that medication that the patient could have, and then we process the script, and if they have insurance, it will go through the insurance, and it comes back with a copay of some sort. If not, then it's a cash claim, and then we wait till the patient comes in, and then we try to counsel every patient that walks in to make sure that if they have any questions about their script, and that's the process.
And then you mentioned about medications interacting.
Yeah.
Are there incidences where you notice a problem and then get back to the doctor and say you cannot?
Every single day, Vivian.
Oh, okay.
So we are obviously advocating, as doctors do. They're all taking care of patients, etc. But sometimes they don't look at something, or they just something goes by them and they don't look at it. Mm-hmm. We're the medicinal experts, so we try to, every script that comes in, we're looking for those aspects. We're interacting with doctors' offices on a daily basis, many times a day. To ensure the patient gets the right medication, to ensure that we're verifying directions even, to ensure that what the doctor wanted is what we're dispensing to the patient.
Perhaps a question that comes to mind, especially with adherence to medications for us as patients, what are some of the challenges or what could possibly go wrong or happen if we don't adhere to the prescribed way of taking medications?
I mean, blood pressure obviously is a big thing in our country, as asthma and other conditions. If a physician is prescribing a blood pressure medications, and we don't follow through with that medications, and we don't take it on a daily basis like we're supposed to, or follow the instructions to the fullest with that medication, that blood pressure could lead to either cardiac issues or perhaps a stroke. Asthma medications, you don't follow those, you don't follow the inhaler usage that you may use or other medications that are prescribed, you can have an asthma attack, perhaps end up in the ER, costing our healthcare system money. Mm-hmm. So adherence to medications is one of the most important aspects in preventing preventing ER visits and preventing unnecessary healthcare costs. So obviously, as pharmacists, we want to see our patients and our customers take medications as they're supposed to, mm-hmm. and we do our most to ensure that they do that.
Right. And then two other questions come to mind. One, we have previously discussed about compounding of medication,
sure.
Which is something your pharmacy does. Could you explain what that is, sure. and what makes, I think from what I've heard, not many pharmacies do it,
correct.
But yours does, and what that means.
So, we've been, one of the things that we wanted to follow in our dad's footstep was compounding. And compounding is an art. It's an art and science of making something that's very specific to the patient's needs. Mm. Now, we compound in Acton, mm-hmm. and we compound in Newton. Those are two locations that we have compounding lab. We actually have a lab that you could see through and see what we do on a daily basis. But the art of compounding is, why do we compound? We compound because somebody potentially could have an allergy to an ingredient in the commercially available product. Not everything off the shelf is feasible for a patient's needs or meets the patient's needs. So compounding, we compound liquids, we compound creams, we compound, suppositories or troches, which is a lozenge that people could, put in their, under their tongue and let it dissolve. We do human and we do veterinarian compounding. But one of the most aspects that we specialize is pediatrics. Mm. Some medication that a little child may need comes only in capsules or tablets. Well, try to give a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old a capsule or tablet is very difficult. So we take that that medication and we compound it into a liquid form, so the parents can administer that product to their child. It's a very personalized mm-hmm. medicine. It's it's patient specific. It's only per prescription. And there's a lot of rules and regulations when it comes to pharmacy compounding that we have to follow the United States Pharmacopoeia or USP guidelines. Very specific. We're accredited in 2 of our locations by an accrediting board that comes and checks on us. Mm-hmm. On a yearly or sometimes every 3 years, we have to go through an accreditation process to ensure that we're following our policies and procedures, and also following the USP chapters 795, as they call it, and 800. So it's very stringent, very we follow it to the book because we are making a medication specific for that specific patient.
Right. And then I want to take us a little into the operations.
Okay.
One of the questions I have in mind and for you today is running a pharmacy requires a lot of medication supply. So how do you manage the supply chain for all these medications, especially the very specialized ones?
Okay, so obviously any pharmacy must have a wholesaler, what we call a wholesaler. We use one of the largest wholesalers in the country for all our 5 locations, and we also have what we call secondary wholesalers, where if something is not available from our primary, we go to our secondary sources to ensure that the medication that our patients needs are available. Now we've had some snags in the during COVID and after COVID a little bit with shortages of medications. Obviously we keep abreast of all that to the best of our knowledge through the FDA websites and through our wholesalers notifying us of shortages that are coming up. But that's typically the chain as we going through from a pharmacy, we order it through a wholesaler sends it back to the pharmacy, and then we're dispensing those medications to the patients.
Right, and then similar, what is your interaction as a pharmacy or any pharmacy with health insurance companies, and how does that affect operations and services?
Well, obviously because we're in healthcare, we consider ourselves healthcare providers. We're there for our patients 24/7. Whenever the patient kind of walks into a pharmacy, they're going to get to talk to a pharmacist, especially at our location at independent pharmacies. But so we never kind of talk to Blue Cross Blue Shield as an example, or we never talk to Tufts directly, or other health big insurance. We're going through what we call pharmacy benefit managers, who their purpose was to process prescriptions between a pharmacy and an insurer. So they're kind of what we call the middlemen. So when the prescription comes in and somebody has an insurance, we're not really billing Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're billing, let's say, Express Scripts or Optum RX or Caremark. Those are the biggest 3s that kind of process scripts across the country. So that's the interaction that we have. And is it always smooth sailing? Unfortunately, no. Sometimes there's a lot of stumbling blocks in processing a prescription, whether it will require prior authorization, which means we have to go back to the physician and say, doctor, you got to fill out this form for this patient for this medication because the insurance company is requiring such. And sometimes there could be delays of therapy due to that processes, and I wish there was a better process with that aspects. But for the most part, that's how operations occur. And we're interacting with the physician. We're following up. We try to get if that's not available, then we try to look for another therapy that perhaps the patient could utilize till that other medication that the doctor really wanted could be authorized by the insurance company.
Right.
So it's not always a smooth operation when it comes to insurance companies.
That I think applies to the whole healthcare sector.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's a system that needs fixing big time.
Yep. And then, which brings me to another question about, again, the patient. So if a patient was had one pharmacy as their primary pharmacy, and they wanted to switch, say, to an individual pharmacy, how does that data transfer, or do you have to create a new database to work with?
There's regulations within the Board of Pharmacy or pharmacy regulations where we're allowed to call another pharmacy per patient's request. We're allowed to call the other pharmacy and have them transfer the data to us, whether through fax or electronic. And if that doesn't occur in a smooth transition, we typically call the physicians that the patient utilizes and say, can you please send us new prescriptions? So-and-so would like to utilize our pharmacy moving forward. But there is a collaborative agreement of some sort between pharmacies that, whether they call us to transfer out or we call to transfer in scripts, there's some collaboration between pharmacies when that happens.
Right. And then maybe one of the last questions is, what is the difference between an individual pharmacy and one of these? Of course, the very obvious difference is one is owned by a corporation and one is individual. But are there other differences within that system and arrangement?
To me, anything in life, as I try to teach my kids, is relationship based. And to me, healthcare is probably the most important aspects to have a relationship with your providers, whether it's a physician, a nurse practitioner, a nurse, and then pharmacist. We see on average, a physician may see a patient 3, 4, 5 times a year. On average, we see a patient 35 to 38 times a year, right?
I believe
so
that.
there's an interactive, a trust aspect between the patient, we call our customers patients and customers, and the pharmacist. We want to be there for them to answer their questions. We try, our phone rings, we pick it up. They have a question, they come in, we're going to be there for them to provide, to the best of our ability, the answers that they need. We also carry an array of products that perhaps the chains may not carry, whether it's home health care products or vitamin and supplements or other aspects that the chains may not have. We have. And, again, it's relationship based. In our pharmacy, I've been there, like I said, since 1997, and the store has been an independent pharmacy since 1927 in Acton. So there's been only 2 owners before us. So it's been a long legacy of pharmacists and families that have carried on the tradition of independent pharmacies. And I think, it's funny, now I'm seeing the grandkids or the great-grandkids of patients that have been coming to us for a long time are utilizing our pharmacy. And again, it's all due to relationship, it's due to trust, it's due to accessibility and availability to them whenever they need something from us.
Right. I said it was the last question, but you mentioned something that was a trigger, the vitamin supplements. So I was having a conversation with friends about that and the need for supplementing, especially after certain years. But what have you observed in terms of how we consume vitamins, and what advice would you have for us residents or patients when we are actually trying to get those vitamins?
So I think one of the, obviously we carry a variety of vitamins. We have a health and wellness director that works with our patients when it comes to vitamins, etc. But, buy it from a reputable source. Just because it's a vitamin, it doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to your pharmacist about it or your physician, because there are certain vitamins that are over the counter, they're still over the counter, that do interact with a lot of medications. So please, double check with your providers before utilizing any vitamins. And I'm a big proponent of utilizing supplements, but it has to be utilized correctly, has to be utilized with correct dosage from a reputable source after I've verified with my physician and my pharmacist that it's okay to take those based on my other medication that I'm on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Really appreciate that.
No problem.
And is there anything that we haven't talked about, the services that you provide, that you'd like to tell us?
We're an independent pharmacy, as I said, family owned. We provide retail pharmacy. We do the compounding services we talked about. We also provide packaging, medication compliance packaging services for people that are, our population is getting a lot older, and as older as we go. And a lot of people are choosing to stay at home instead of going to a nursing home and assisted living facilities. So even though we provide a lot of services to those facilities, there's certain individuals that choose to stay home. So we work with their families and provide them compliance packaging that we pre-pack in the morning and night or midday, depending on when they take medications. And those are the 3 main services that we provide. And obviously we have, like I said, the durable medical equipment that we provide in all of our locations, crutches, braces, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the most important thing is that we are lucky to be in a community such as Acton, who's been so supportive of us as an independent pharmacy and other family-owned and small businesses. It's an amazing community, and I wouldn't want my career since 1997 to be anywhere else besides Acton. It's been an incredible supportive community, and I love it.
Oh my goodness, it's great to hear business owners, give that testimonial about their experiences with the local government, with the town, with the community. And on behalf of the community, I'd like to say thank you for the services you provide.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being my guest.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me as a host. I appreciate it.
Of course, and I'd love to bring you back as often as you can. I know you're a busy person.
Whenever you want. You name the day and time, I'll come.
Ooh, there we go. You got it. I will be right at your door.
Thank you.
But to our viewers, I hope you have learned more about what goes on behind the pharmacy scenes, and learned about compounding and other things about the pharmacy, at least Acton Pharmacy. And if you haven't checked them out, you can check them out. What's the best address?
www.actonpharmacy.com or at 563 Massachusetts Avenue in Acton.
There, you got it from the horse's mouth. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for watching Acton in Focus. Till next time.